Hey everybody, this is Royal with Paternity University. This is the Skills Make You Meals segment of my YouTube channel. This is a limited series where I'm going to be interviewing service-based business owners and how they got started, and what their business life is like. So I'm here with Sam of the Assets Rule Academy. He is a vending machine advisor, as he calls himself on Twitter. The man knows about vending machines and he breaks it down. So we're going to have him break it down in this interview here. Sam, how you doing, man?
I'm great. How about you?
I'm good. I cannot complain, man. I'm living and breathing, so I'm good.
Yes, sir. Every day above ground is a good day.
Yes, sir. Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So Sam, man, tell me a little bit about yourself, man. Just even before the vending machine stuff, tell me a little bit about yourself.
I guess I kind of always start off with I've always had this entrepreneurial, spirit, um, from side hustles to full-thrown businesses. Going back as far as maybe like right before middle school or so. I've always had a desire to make my own money, and it's the crazy. When I think back on it, I feel a little old, but before there was the search engines. This is like your X Jeeves times and whatnot, or just where you can go and use to find out, okay, what are people doing right now? Like, how can I make money?
Yeah.
I would frequent the library a lot, and it was even the books that even I was getting, they were older than me. So the stuff that they were talking about, and it was like lemonade stands, newspaper routes. And it's like, nobody's doing this. Like, I didn't see nobody set up in my neighborhood at a lemonade stand doing a newspaper route. I was like, how do I get into this? And I looked into it, and it was like the people that were doing the newspaper stuff was like older people, like grown people. Like, it's not like in the movies with the kids on his bike and he's throwing papers, getting up at 4 a.m. It's all on TV. So it's like, what can I do? What can I do? So, I've done a little bit of everything. I've, going back, of course, I sold candy in school. I remember one of my earliest touches with businesses. My parents, my grandparents took me to the grocery store, and I got a few things, and they took me to the zoo, and I sold chips and juices and candy at the zoo. And it wasn't a long live, but it was just something that made me feel good, made me happy. So I don't know exactly where it started, or the bug, stuck with me, but it's been with me since then. So I've had a printing company, like graphic design and printing company, back in middle school. I've, of course, like I said, I sold candy in school. I've had landscaping, snow removal, you name, cleaning businesses, business consulting, and I knew at an early age that I had that, I guess, the vision. I always consider myself a visionary, and to also help others map it out or put it on paper to see what it looks like. So I found myself finding some of my clients in my peer group, in people that, were my age, that didn't have it all together. It's like, hey, I want to do this, and I see you doing X, Y, Z. Can you help me? And that's where, again, I've always had the ability to figure out how to monetize something or see an opportunity within something.
So I got a quick question.
Yeah.
So was anybody in your family entrepreneurial? And the second part of my question, I don't mean to interrupt you. It's more so of a statement. Mm-hmm. Do you think that? Oh yeah, I guess a question. Do you think that your parents being or your relatives being supportive throughout your journey as an entrepreneurial, child, do you think that helped you kind of build that foundation for you now?
To an extent, yes. Back to like the original part of that question, nobody in my family was a business owner, if that makes sense. I've come from more of I'm a hustler, like side hustle, and not even just a hustle in general, but just a hustler mentality.
Yeah.
So the business concepts and things that I had to learn later on from bumping my head were things that I had to learn later on by myself. But I didn't come from a family with a lot of, college students or college graduates. Also, none of business owners, that owned a whole lot of real estate. I had some distant aunts and uncles that had a lot of houses and real estate and stuff that they acquired over the years, but they never showed us, how do you go get it? So again, that's maybe what fueled my desire. I want money on my own. I never, to this day, I don't like asking for stuff. I don't borrow nothing from nobody. I don't ask. If I can't figure out how to get it, I'll go without. And that's again where I figured out my ability to make money. So outside of I guess priming my brain with the books that I would check out from the library and say, okay, what's an idea? What can I do? I never wanted to invent nothing. I've never been that guy that wanted to create something. And I take my hat off to creatives that have the ability to do that. But I was always just wanting to jump on an already rolling wheel. Okay, it's already worked. It's proven. Let me just figure out a way for me to get in and make it work for me. And then back to the second part of your question, you mentioned, the support of my family. Crazy thing, believe it or not, all the businesses that I've had over the years, I've always been encouraged and like given patted on the back to do X, Y, Z. But even in regards to, aside from family, just friends and people that I know, with every business that I've ever had, we've gotten more quote unquote, support as far as people actually patronizing the business from complete strangers than I've ever gotten from people that I've known my whole life.
That's how it is, though. That's normally how it is. Yeah.
And I'm very quick to share that with anyone that asks, with people that I do, happen to mentee, in regards to the business, vending, and business in general. Don't be so crazy to, you gotta get in with a partner and gotta do it with somebody, and they're gonna bring X, Y, Z. I'm like, really, what are they bringing to the table? Are y'all gelling together? Are they bringing some strengths to the table that are double as your weaknesses? You don't have to do it with somebody. You can do it yourself. And that was something that, I never cared for myself, and I'm the same person that hated group projects in school.
Yeah.
Because I was always the one that ended up doing all the work.
Doing it yourself. So tell me, you're a serial entrepreneur pretty much, right? You had a background, you started multiple businesses, and they all kind of seem to be in that service-based business. So how did you get, because first off, I'm looking at these two boxes of Oreos behind you, man. I love Oreos and I'm getting hungry just looking at them. This backdrop that you have. How did you get into the vending machine business?
I think that actually started one of those books again. I can't remember or trace it back, but the very first time that I started was in sixth grade. It was 2001, and I looked into it. Of course, at the time, all you had to really rely on was eBay. There was no OfferUp. There was no Facebook Marketplace. No nothing. It was Craigslist, of course, but it's like as how old was I at the time? As an 11-year-old, like that's a scary place to be. Craigslist.
Yeah.
But eBay, no different.
Mm-hmm.
So I did that for a little while, and all I saw was used machines, and that was the thing that terrified me the most at the time. Was I don't have a lot of capital. I'm not driving, of course, myself right now. So even if I was to get this money and go buy, how do I move it? Where do I put it? Where am I going to put it?
Wait. You were 11 years old thinking about this.
Yeah, and that was like really what discouraged me from wanting to deal with it, because I'm like, okay, I don't know anything about it. I didn't have anybody to lean on, as an advisor or a mentor. So the next thing was new machines. And at the time, I don't know if you remember back to when Sam's Club used to actually have on the overstock shelves vending machines in store. So I remember, we would always frequent Sam's Club. You can see them, and at the time they may have been, anywhere from $3,000 to $5,000. And you can literally go there, have them get the forklift, they'll get it down, take it out to your car, load it up. Or if you bought it online, it's coming from a local store. It's not coming from a distribution center. Now they don't keep them in store anymore. All of those overstock shelves are for exactly that, overstock. But I was like, okay, I don't have the capital, of course, to afford new. So I did the next best thing, and I went with bulk candy machines, which is what most people know as the gumball machines, or capsule machines. So I started there. I grabbed a couple of those. I sold everything from like Mike and Ike's, Skittles, peanut M&Ms, and I did purchase that new. It wasn't extremely expensive. I purchased it offline, put it together, placed it, and then I got a second one that was a peppermint patty machine. Some that I did get off of eBay. Took a risk, took a chance. It actually, they took the money. It did come. So, I had, kept my nose clean for the most part with eBay, and kind of got over that fear of dealing with that. And And it was pretty short-lived, but I learned so much from the encounter of the things that I felt discouraged from, the things that kept me, at bay from it, the things that I didn't have. So when I jumped back into it, beginning of the pandemic, 2020, everything kept coming back, really more so full speed. Okay, didn't have this then, but now I had a knowledge now. Now I do have YouTube. Now I do have other people that I can lean on, or I can see doing this, and I can see, okay, this is what they advise doing. This is what they say stay away from. Oh, I can hire a vending mover, or I can rent a U-Haul trailer and the right type of equipment and move this myself. I've tried on a couple of occasions to move machines. Not that I've tried, I have. It's not all it's cracked up to be. Like, I will pay that money happily.
Yeah.
And even like with one of my movers that happened to start off as a mentee of mine, with him and his brother, when I ended up bringing them into things and they helped me move stuff, I'm out there sweating right along with them. I'm not just paying and watching them work. I'm working right alongside them. So I have the capability to do it. But again, it's all those things that kept me from getting into full line vending back in 2001 that allowed me to jump in head first in 2020. That I knew, okay, don't worry about you not having a vehicle to move it. Don't worry about you not having a lift gate on your truck. Don't worry about you not having the forethought to understand how to fix this if this goes down. Don't worry about you not knowing what to look for when you're going to look at this machine starting out, because anybody can just tell you anything because they can smell you coming. They smell you green. They know you coming, that you're brand new, even if you don't say it. And of course, in regards to that, the gem that I learned is bring vending tech along with you. When the vending techs do come out, to fix your machines when they go down or whatever the case, most of them don't have a problem with you like looking over their shoulder. Some of them let you even record them. Some of them, every trip is not worth their time. So they'll even lace you up with a lot of games. Say, hey, if this happens again, do X, Y, Z, and you'll fix it. So that's how I build up my knowledge base of people can hit me up with certain symptoms. And it sounds like this, that, and the other. Yeah. 3 years ago, I couldn't do that. I couldn't say, I don't know. I can give you somebody's phone number that does. Now I'm that person that everybody's calling, from other states, other cities, right here in my own city. I can actually charge a service fee and go out and tweak somebody's machine out. I know my limitations. I don't jump into everything. I'm not money hungry. I'm not taking nobody's money. And like, it's out of my, my purview. I don't know how to do this, but, I'll come out, I'll take a look at it and take your money and, and lead you, elsewhere. If it's something that I know that I can't handle, I'm automatically referring them on to somebody else. But again, I wish that the knowledge that I have now, that I would have had it then, because that's the gem within itself. At 11 years old, it didn't matter that I didn't have a whole lot of capital. It didn't matter that I wasn't driving yet, that I didn't have a lot of knowledge base of machines and how to fix them and what to look for and what to stay away from. It was always another solution that I could have employed that could have got me right over that hurdle. But so I had no idea about that.
If an 11-year-old can work to start figuring it out, then a grown man or woman can also figure it out. So speaking of which, what's so special about the vending industry? What makes the vending industry so dope to get into?
For me, and what I share with everyone is that it's assets based. And early on, like right after I got out of high school, was in my first, couple years of college, I learned about the pawn shop. I never been into a pawn shop, as a child or nothing. But when you're struggling college student, like I pawned some of my most valuable stuff that I thought was of value. It's like, okay, you need some money? You messed up right now? Okay, I'll give you this for it. And the vending machine works the exact same way. It's actual assets. So depending on how many you have out here on location or even sitting off in storage, if you need some money and need to liquidate, you can get that thing gone and get a few hundred to a couple $1,000s like that. So that's the tangible part of it. Then you have the location side of it, real estate. Locations or just vending in general has so many aspects of real estate woven into it that a lot of some people, they find that and then they make mention of it, and others, are kind of taken aback when I make the correlation, but it is very much so real estate driven. And just that alone, if you have the gift of relationship currency, the gift of gab, the gift of, you have the ability to make people like you, and they like your spirit, they like your personality, whatever the case may be. And to the point where if they can't say no to you or they'll tell you yes, that's something that you can monetize. You can turn around and then flip that look. You may not have any intention on placing a machine there yourself, any intention on even getting into vending, but you found out that this particular person or this particular establishment or decision maker, what gatekeeper, has an in, or they need something. Yes, you can make a phone call and give it away for free, but why would you do that? Mm-hmm. Definitely throw a price on it, play middleman. The richest man, as the cliche goes, is the middleman. And that's pretty much what you're monetizing. It's just another stream of income within vending itself. This new thing that I've been campaigning with is there's, over 100 ways to make money in vending, but most people only know about one. And that's the traditional full line machines, stocking them with snacks, putting them on a location, and basically sitting and waiting, kind of like you set a trap and you waiting to catch something. Mm-hmm. That's just one way to make money in vending. But what I've discovered and been able to identify is all these other ways that everyone is completely asleep on. They don't want to touch, they don't want to change lanes. It's not for them, whatever the case might be. But there's technically something for everybody, depending on all these different personality types. Whether you are an introvert, an extrovert, if you are, you like to be out in the spotlight, you like to, play the back scenes. You can literally make six figures in this industry and not ever touch a vending machine, not ever touch a snack, never load one, never have to deal with the nuisance calls. Hey, my dollar got stuck or my chips didn't come out. You never have to deal with that. But do you know what that means and what that entails and how to tap into that? So that's
I'm sure you discussed that, most likely in the course that you offer.
Briefly, I didn't want to overwhelm the course, but everything, I wanted to keep something back to make new content later on. And that's kind of where this new masterclass came from.
That's smart. Okay, so dope. So there's talk that you see on social media and in the news, possibly. Obviously, it's a real thing. Inflation and unemployment, et cetera, and a possible recession coming, right? Mm-hmm. So is vending recession proof?
That's a great question. That's the other thing. I mentioned that it's assets based, but it is also, I learned again, some may call it the easy way, some may call it the hard way. It's recession and pandemic proof. And what really made that clear to me was if I had started, let's say in 2001 fully, without the hurdles and the discouragements and whatnot, let's say if I even had started in 2018 or 19, I got back into it, I probably would be either really hurt or went out of business with so many others at the beginning of 2020. Mm-hmm. So when everyone was running out of a burning building in the beginning of 2020, when everything hit, like we were in January, my wife and I think we were in Mexico or somewhere, and we had just got back about a week later, everything shut down. Mm-hmm. And no one saw that coming. We heard about the virus on the news and how it was affecting overseas, but it hadn't hit over here yet. And people have been getting sick, but didn't have a name for it yet. So when everything started shutting down, all of these vendors that have been in business 30 and 35 years, they were vets, and this is very much so a good old boy industry, like many other things, like oil and gas, and so forth, so on. Believe it or not, this is the same thing in regards to vending. They were running out. They were taking that as a sign, I need to retire. They were seeing things that they had never seen before, like school shutting down. The only time that they experienced school shutdowns was for the summertime. So they would move their machines, or a couple of them to like community pools, because those are seasonal. They only want you to move the machine in for 3 months, and then you take it back, elsewhere. Office buildings, everybody always going to school, everybody always going to work. Those were the 1 and 2 types of establishments that shut down at the beginning of the pandemic, and it put everybody in a position of panic. So what smart people did, no different than the real estate crash in 07 and 08, is those that were in a position to buy real estate, they bought as much as they could. And those were where a lot of first-time millionaires were created, those that were in a position to jump into the vending industry that understood it, jumped in when everybody was jumping out, when they were selling these businesses or these locations and routes for pennies on the dollar, because everything was like, I just want to get what I can get and get out. I don't want to have to move any machines, or I might have already moved them, or my machines have already been locked in this school for the last 3 months. So I finally got in and they're sitting in my warehouse or they're sitting in my storage. You can come, hey, give me whatever for it, and they're yours. I'm out. I jumped in. What helped me figure out that it's pandemic proof was I went after the things that stayed open during that time. Now, it's kind of like when there's a blackout or the lights go out in your block, everyone instinctively, they look out the blinds and they step outside. Is it just me, or is it the whole block? Is the whole neighborhood? That's kind of what I did from a bird's eye view with the pandemic. I looked out and I just looked at, hey, what's open, what's closed? I stayed away from everything that shut down. Grocery store stayed open. Everything blue collar stayed open. Certain technical schools stayed open. Those are the things that the tire shops, anything service-based stayed open. Everything else, locked the doors. Schools, the office buildings, the anything that wasn't essential shut down. Now, that was either by personal choice or that was by what the governors of certain states said they had to do. But the things that stayed open, those are the things I ran after. And I not only was I able to get in with a very low barrier of cost, but I was able to use that as something that I locked away, my knowledge base of this is the stuff that you want to shoot for and go after. If a pandemic couldn't shut this down, what's going to shut it down?
That's real. Okay, dope. So about how many machines or routes, I guess, do you own now?
Machines, we're up to 34 machines. We're operating in like a directional route system. So basically, north, south, east, and west. That's how we're currently doing the route. We're getting ready to restructure that a little bit because we're now expanding out a little bit further to where like the industrial areas are and the plants are, the refineries and whatnot. They're not always in like your residential, or super close to the residential. So that'll be a day within itself. There's an opportunity that we recently got to place 9 machines at a metals recycling plant. Basically, they're the only place, I don't want to give too much, but they're one of the only places in Texas that can legally dispose of the metals that come out of oil when they refine it. So that's basically what they do there. So we're going to start off with 9 machines, and we're probably, once they open up some of their other buildings and expand, we're probably going to have anywhere from 15 to 20 machines placed there. But that's actually not what my company is able to take credit for 100%. That's going to be where we're going to be placing our automation and management clients. So basically how that works is they've invested into this automation and management program. They basically bought a starter pack from us. We're going to place their machine there. We're going to operate it and manage it, but they don't physically have to be here. They don't physically have to go and do it.
You're almost like you're almost like a property manager, but for vending machines, essentially.
100% the same thing. So if you take Mary, Shopify, and Amazon automation with property management, you get vending automation.
Now, was that something that was done, years ago? Is that something that's kind of newer? Maybe within the last 18 months or 2 or 3 years? Like, how's that?
Like the automation side of things?
Yeah.
To be honest, I can't take credit to say that I'm the first or one of the first. I mean, I'd like to think so.
Yeah.
I know that people have paid people to be, route runners. And they basically say, hey, you go do all the shopping, you go stock the machines. And they were doing this before credit card readers. So there was really no way of accounting for, are you skimming off the top, or is this accurate, so forth, so on. The credit card readers, also having someone in position that is transparent and trustworthy is extremely important to that. But I can't say that there's an actual management company out there. There's franchise companies out there that basically they'll set you all up, they'll hand the keys over to you, and it's yours to run after the fact. but I don't believe that there's anything on the market, specifically here in Houston and Texas, that someone's going to do this for you, send you a weekly settlement statement to show you the performance of what that machine did, and a monthly direct deposit minus those management fees. I don't think that anything exists. So this is, one of the first, to come out with something like
turnkey vending, essentially.
And this is to debunk the whole, what YouTube and TikTok and whatnot spews of passive. It is vending is not passive. It is semi-passive, and it's only passive. And not saying that you have to invest into the automation, but it's only passive when you have a system in place to remove you. Now, if that system happens to be you want to invest into the automation program, great. But even if that means you hiring a relative or a college student to go and do all the runs for you, now it's passive for you. Now you're in a position where, yes, you might not be making as high of a profit margin as you once were, but are you working? Are you spending your gas? Are you spending your time and doing the actual footwork? No, you're not anymore. So of course, losing that additional profit percentage, it evens out. It makes sense because now I'm freed up. I can go on vacation and I don't have to worry about what's going to happen with this or what's going to happen with that. No different than, for years, people have vacation homes and, they rent them out while they're not there. I'm only there maybe 2-3 times a year. So the other, 10, 11 months, does it just sit vacant? Does someone go and check on it? Or does someone rent it out and I turn it into an asset? And again, that's where it goes back to being an assets-based business. Yes, these things, they can, depreciate, but as long as you are buying with the intention of, I want to make sure that this particular asset or machine has some resale value. A lot of people are buying stuff that they can't even give away if they wanted to. If it, it can't be upgraded or it's just so old or it's on its last leg, they think that they're getting the deal and they end up figuring out that, it's done. There's no more parts being made for it. Everything is obsolete on it. Something as simple as a keyboard could go out on it, the keypad, and you just can't use it no more. You just got a big metal box. So it's going to cost more for the mover to pick it up, take it to the scrapyard than they're going to give you when you get there.
So that leads to my next question is, and I've seen you and a couple other vending folks talk about this before, is do you want to have the location first before you buy the machine, or do you want to get the machine and then try to get the location?
Once you learn the game, it's nothing to jump on the deal. Like I say, you see a machine, hey, they don't know what they got, and I'm not going to be the one to tell them. I'm going to buy it and I'm going to let it sit in the storage because I know I got a location coming up, whatever the case might be. But 99% of people that are starting, they're anxious and they want to jump out there. They want to say that they did something. They'll go and buy the machine thinking that it's going to light a fire up under them to go find the location. Completely the wrong way to do it. And I'll be 100% honest. I was teaching people this way when I first started coaching and mentoring because I was saying, do this. This is what you look for. You get a machine. This is what you look for, the location. I don't endorse that anymore. What I endorse now is start with the location first and literally be a consultative person. Basically, you're filling the order for them. So based on the doorways of their location, based on the demographics of their location, based on the space that they have available for a machine or machines to go, or the volume of traffic that their location will see, that's going to determine the type of machine you place there. So now you can go out with having the yes, and you can make the decision of, one, do I even want to keep this? Do I want to sell it? Do I want to place a machine and sell it? Do I want it? Now I know what type of machine to go out and find. But working the other way around, you're stuck with this machine that you probably bought on a bargain. It's not the nicest looking. You probably can't put a credit card reader on it. It was never even designed to communicate with one. That location don't want that machine. So now you gotta, go in and out of and bob and weave with finding a location that will even take this machine. Now you're placing, something that you're stuck with. You're placing a headache, and that's what you don't want to do.
It's better to, so you're saying it's better to establish that relationship and then develop your strategy for getting the machine and then placing it rather than getting that machine and then trying to develop your strategy around that.
Right. By no means am I saying go out, get the yes, and then go figure out, okay, now where am I going to get the money? Now I got to raise the money. Now you got them looking for it. So at least have your capital in place. And have the place and position that you're going to go purchase from. Know what that distributor is, know where that warehouse, that local warehouse is, know where online and what that lead time and shipping time looks like if you decide to go online. But set realistic expectations with that location. So once you get that, yes, all right, make them a part of the process. No different as a service-based business. When you go in and you tell them, well, I got to do this and I got to do that. I'm going to call my distributor. I'm going to put in an order with my distributor to get this machine. Now that, you're doing this for us. You're not moving this machine with the spider webs on it out your garage into here. You're going to place an order for a machine. They don't know that it's a used machine, it's a refurbished machine, that then there's been 15 owners with that machine. They just know you placing an order. You're making them a part of the process. And this is what adds to the extra layer of professionalism when you're there and you make them a part of that process. When you don't let the left hand know what the right hand is doing, now you just another shady business person. And that's at least the impression that you come off as when they don't know all of the moving parts that are involved. So make them aware of those moving parts. And also you want to put yourself in a position to set realistic expectations. So, if your lead time is, let's say, a week, ask for 2 weeks. Always cushion the time, because never go off of face value. Stuff is always going to happen. And you don't want to be in a position where you got to go back with bad news and your tail tucked between your legs. I know I said this. First strike. Machine ain't even there yet. Now they're looking at you sideways.
Your reputation. So what's in it for them? I've seen different things like, don't pay a commission to the facility owners, or maybe what do you do? Do you pay them a monthly space rent? What do you do? What's in it for them?
So typically there's 2 different establishments that speak in square footage. That's property management, i.e. office buildings and malls. Actually, that's the only 2. They speak in language of square footage. You're a tenant at the end of the day. They don't care about amenities, value. You need 12 square feet. All right. They calculate it out. This is how much you're going to pay some rent in regards to something like that. Now, if you can get around the rent, then they're going to hit you for a net, what do they call it? Triple net. They're going to hit you for, okay, whatever that machine makes, we want this from that machine. Or we want both. We want a hybrid of the 2. We want rent and we want triple net. You want to be able to go into an establishment that you can sell the value of what it is that you're bringing to the table. So these are all a given thing, but you want to literally bullet point it and itemize it to where you're now building this layer or this tower of value or benefits. Free machines, free install, free maintenance. The inventory is free. We're not asking you to foot the bill on any of the inventory that has to go into the machine on a monthly and a weekly basis. The repair is free. Anytime the machine goes down, we're not sending you a bill just because it's in your establishment. We foot the bill for that. Out of sight, out of mind, transparency is the fact that we don't want this to be another responsibility on your plate. No different than that dumpster service that you got outside. They might come every night. They might come once a week. But on Tuesdays when they come, when the mailman comes, you got to call the post office or call the sanitation company and ask them, is they coming?
Right.
They just show up, right?
Right.
And I learned this in sales. First person to speak loses. And this was prior to Wolf of Wall Street coming out when he said that in the movie. So, one of the guys that was the owner of the company that I work for, I was doing life insurance sales. Been doing life insurance sales, probably 40 plus years, door to door. Never saw his wife and kids type situation. He had a lot of game. I picked up a lot of game from that, but he's shared that with us. First person to speak loses. So when you say that question, you don't got to call the sanitation company or the mailman and say, hey, y'all coming today? They just show up, right? And that's your mic drop. Now, if it's 30 seconds of dead silence, if it's a minute of dead silence, don't get anxious. Don't say nothing, because now you just undid your whole close. You got to start all over again. But that's literally your mic drop situation of, okay, where do we sign? Or when can you have the machine? All right, you probably can sell water to a well. That's what you want to end up, doing at the end of the day. And then you want to definitely, assume the sale.
What if they already have a vending machine there? What do you do then?
Even better, because I don't got to come in and convince you need this. I got to come in and basically, no different than, and I say that, I hate to bring this up, but I say this about, this is something that people can relate to. People that are in relationships, people that are in marriages. Because you're married don't mean you're happy. It's because you're in a relationship. So that's, womanizers and whatnot, and women that go out and then they prey on, they look for these signs, they look for these red flags. This is what they do. So when they can see all the signs, they know exactly what buttons to press, what to say, what he or she is not doing, and that's their end. And it's the same way when you go into an establishment and there's vending machines already there. What can I find that they're not doing right? The product's expired. Let me even go just put a couple dollars in. I can lose this couple dollars. I'll probably end up winning the account. Put it in, see, okay, is it working? Is there a credit card reader there? It's the number one way to get them kicked out. Hey, how often do they come? Something new, and this is the first time I shared it publicly, that I just started doing is instead of calling up and cold calling and saying something along the lines of, hey, I was wondering who would be the right person to talk to place a vending machine here, a free vending machine here, or who's the correct decision maker for XYZ, versus calling them and pitching your services. Call them just to check on them. Kind of how we got them family and friends that just call to be nosy, but they disguise it as a welfare check. That's exactly what you're doing. And we're actually expanding into the area. We're expanding our route into the area. And we just want to touch base with you to see if you will be a good fit, to add to our route. With your current service, if you already have vending machines, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate them? 10 being the best. If they say anything other than a 10,
you got it.
1 out of 10, first person to speak loses. Anything that they share with you, whether it be one thing, whether it be something as simple as I really wish they would just put credit card readers on there. I really wish they would just come a little bit more often. They only come once a month. Right now, they're giving you ammunition.
Yeah.
So when you do go back in for the kill, you know exactly what their pain points are. But you're basically figuring out what is it that the current people are not doing that you can come in and do it. And not saying that you're going to tell them one thing and show up and do another, but these are the things that you got to make sure that you check these boxes, or you're going to get kicked out too. Because it takes nothing but a charismatic person, a nice smile, or whatever, the gift of gab to go into any place and get what it is that you want, out of it. But it's the people that usually end up getting into vending or wanting to do it that are the shyest, the most introverted, don't necessarily have the gift to speak with people or to get something out of them that they need. And they go in and you can smell the nervousness. You can feel it. They're stuttering and stumbling over their words. And this is just an easy way to kind of use it as an icebreaker and to get past that and just be conversational. You're not selling anything. You're not selling them a service. They're not paying you to be there. You're not paying them to be there. You're not selling them the machine. You are literally making them aware that you exist, as with any other service-based business. If you just so happen to ever need a plumber, you just so happen to ever need DNA testing, I just want to let you know, I'm here. Give me a call. Here's my contact information. I don't want to hold you too long, but, I'm here. Just reach out. And of course, if you show up with something else, if you do bring, a cold drink along with you, let's say you would arrive with a cooler, and just no different than how, for people that are familiar with the medical industry, the pharmaceutical techs, they always bring lunch because, again, those service-based businesses, blue-collar businesses, the medical field that are not as high as RN, anything below a RN, they get 15-minute breaks. They don't have time to run nowhere. So those are the biggest consumers of vending machines. But they bring in hot lunch, catered. It's a write-off. It's in their marketing budget. And this is how they get your captive attention to bring the pharmaceuticals in, sell them to the doctor. Hey, this is what we want you, to push on your patients, whatever the case. It's the same thing that you can do in vending. Show up with, some Tiff treats. Show up with the Great American Cookie or a cold Coke. Coke, Pepsi, depending on the demographic you're in, Big Red, Snickers, peanut M&Ms. Those are all staple items that should be in every vending machine. So with that being said, you want to show up with those types of things, just to leave them with something. No different than how most of us was raised, that you don't show up to anybody's house empty-handed. You're going into their house, their business. Don't show up empty-handed. And that will be something that stands out, that makes them remember you. Even if you didn't show up to sell them anything, you planted that psychological seed in their mind, and they're not going to forget.
This is a thought. I'm in the military, so I work on a military base, and I was like, they have since taken them out a few months ago. I don't know what happened, but I was like, whoever has the contract to have the vending machines on the military bases, and whoever has the Red Bull machines in the military bases are booming.
Yeah.
Booming, because those Red Bulls sell for, I think, $3 a pop. I don't know how much they get them wholesale.
Like 141 at the lowest.
You get 100%, you know what I'm saying? But like on a military base, come on. If you got a monster machine, oh my gosh, you are absolutely destroying. I mean, you might have to compete with the actual, you might, you have the actual post exchange, like little, gas stations on base. But if you have them in the buildings where they work at, they can just go downstairs, get a Red Bull. I'd be going to the vending machine, get my little Nate Rally.
Really, like energy drinkers, the Red Bulls, your monsters, they're not drinking one.
Yeah.
3 to 5 a day.
Yes. You know what's funny? I don't know if I've ever seen a Bang energy machine, a Bang vending machine. Yeah, I think they
don't have any that are like branded, but there's machines that sell them, but not the branded ones. And the reason is any machine that you see that's branded is typically from the local bottler. So it's Coke, it's Pepsi, it's Dr. Pepper.
Okay, gotcha.
Not one of those three, and that's not their product. So Bang, I don't know who manufactures them, but I don't think it's one of the three. So that's why you haven't seen any of their machines.
Gotcha. But you can get a machine and put it in there.
Exactly.
Boy, that would be woo. If somebody had a machine that sold Bangs, Reigns, and Red Bulls and put it on a military base.
It just gave me an idea. There was one individual that reached out to me. He was the manager of a storage place that I was renting for some time. And he basically had an inside, I guess, man, that you can go through. It's like, I wanted to get into this and I have access to all these bases and I don't got to go through the red tape or the bureaucracy.
Yeah.
They're just going to let me come in because Frito-Lay currently has the contract. But the difference with Frito-Lay is Frito-Lay doesn't do drinks. They only do snacks.
Mm-hmm.
So that was the end. But I never heard anything back from him. I guess he figured it out, but he wanted to have me mentor him to basically get him through the process, how to set it all up. But also that's, I think, one of the first times that seed was planted for the management. He didn't want to run it.
I wouldn't want to look. I'm telling you, man, once I have enough bread set aside, I actually, and we definitely have to talk after this because I'd be interested in something. I mean, I used to sell snacks in college, man. I used to buy my snacks from Sam's Club. I was hustling like that too. Get make cheeseburgers and hamburgers and bacon cheeseburgers with special sauce.
I did that too. I had everything but a hot plate.
Yeah,
I didn't make any food, but I sold everything.
And I had it to the point where I was with my partner and we got a heat bag and everything. We would cook the food, wrap it up in aluminum foil, walk through the dorms.
So y'all was Grubhub, Uber Eats before that was.
We were, yes, 100%. 2000. This is 2010 through 12 at HBC, and we knew exactly what time to go because some of them cats would have the munchies right at night. So we knew exactly when it would come the same night every single night. We made deals to because the girls and boys dorms were separated. Right. We made deals with the dorm directors to go into the girls' dorms to sell, and then when Square came out. Because Square came out, that's when we got the card reader. We got the card reader, and we were going through. We put another company out of business, like a company that came up and set up a pizza shop. Mm-hmm. Some dude came up and set up a pizza shop. He wouldn't deliver on base, and his logistics were horrible because it would take him 50 minutes to make one small pizza, right? When they were ordering. Right. So we would just go straight. Not on base, on campus. We would go straight on campus to them.
Right.
We knew what they want. We had all the stuff behind you, man.
It was already made, and you just went.
We already made it. We will project. All right. It's a Friday night. Whoopty whoop. All right. We need to make 40 bacon cheese. We need to make 20 bacon cheeseburgers, 20 regular cheeseburgers, 20 chicken sandwiches. Have all our snacks, everything. The girls like this, the guys like that. Boom, boom. We knew our demographics and everything. We would walk through the dorms, and we would sell. I would profit $100 a night, and in college, that's pretty good.
A lot of money.
That's pretty good, all cash, man. I mean, and the Square stuff, we had it figured out, man. But that's a tangent. I didn't mean to.
No, I was this close to going to Tuskegee. I went to Fisk.
Oh, really? Okay.
Accepted Fisk and Tuskegee.
Yeah.
I decided literally the only thing that caused me not to go to Tuskegee was, and I don't even know why I was thinking like this, is, I'm fresh out of high school, I'm about to be gone, get some freedom, is if something happens, I got to travel all the way to Birmingham to get on the plane. But Nashville is only 45 minutes away to get to the airport. And that was my deciding factor. And to this day, I wish I would have went to Tuskegee.
Tuskegee was, hey man, we're the same age, right? You're what, 32, 30, 31?
I'll be 32 on the 25th.
Okay, so we're the same age. We probably would have linked up.
We would have been making some money.
I was a hustling cat, man. That's what I was doing. I was hustling, man. I was grinding. But so on that, and kind of in closing a little bit, your Twitter name is 5 years to retire. All right. Are you on that trajectory, or are you kind of already low key kind of retired? Like what's that looking like?
I've stayed with the same name for years. I'm not the guy to change the name every other week.
Yeah.
My previous one prior to my 30th birthday was Young Mogul ESQ. I had a vision of being a lawyer.
Okay.
And I always been a mogul and always had so many irons in the fire at the same time. So I was like, okay, ain't too young no more, I'm getting out the bed a little slower. Then my 30th birthday, I said, I'm going to change it. And 5 years to retire was created because my goal was to retire at the age of 35. And then not to literally completely sit down, but put myself into a point where everything is on autopilot, everything is automated. My retirement business is going to be that of a funeral home. That's my legacy business.
Really?
So most people think that I'm building this thing up because this is going to be for the kids, the vending and whatnot. This is just a milestone. I don't believe I'm going to sell it or anything. I'm just going to build for as long as, and then of course, at 35, my goal is to launch the funeral home. I've always been intrigued by that industry. And I'm not one of the people that's freaked out and grossed out by it. So, and it's at the end of the day, it has really nothing to do with death. As everything, it's a hospitality industry. Everything to do with hospitality.
It is. That's
but
really.
it's not going nowhere either. Pandemic.
I haven't heard anybody say that. Now, do you intend to either buy the actual home and still have the management in place, the mortician in place, et cetera, et cetera? You plan to go to mortician school?
No, I'm not doing that. I considered it several times over the years. I've considered going, when I had my hair company, I considered going to cosmetology school. I've considered going to, of course, law school, all different types to get that background and that certification or type of credibility. But in this case, upon my research, I don't need to. The funeral home owner does not need to be licensed. The funeral home itself needs to be licensed, but then you just put a director on salary. That's the person's name that goes on the certificate on the wall. You need an embalmer on salary, and the salary, per my recent research, it's only like $40,000-$50,000.
Yeah,
so it's not a whole lot. They serve one purpose, and they also, many of them work for 2 to 3 different funeral homes because they don't get paid about as much as a police officer does. And down here in the South, police officers don't get paid a whole lot. So that was also another part of my journey. I've been to police academy, graduated, this close to becoming a peace officer right before the pandemic. I did not do it. And again, that's where I've after 10 years in the private security industry, I was like, I don't want to do this no more. I'm burnt out. I see people still in this that have been doing this, for 20, 25, 30 years, still just chasing their ass, for lack of better terms.
Yeah.
And, always on the road. They don't see their family, miss so much, in their kids' lives. No different than with police officers, that are 2 and 3 times divorced. Private security, from executive protection, celebrity protection down to uniform security, no different. It's really a dead end industry. It was fun, while I was in it. My point of elevation was to go into law enforcement, even though just before the benefits, even though the private sector pays extremely better, probably 20 times better than what the public sector does. But it was right after that I was working a private assignment, and it was only supposed to last a month. And it ended up going over a year. And I said, and again, one thing that I had got into the thought process of thinking was, these things, they can end at a moment's notice. They're a contract, but they can literally pull you at a moment's notice. So you're banking on making this money, you're counting your money before it gets there, and it could just end. So you got to be very, strategic with how you save, where you're putting it, how you're investing. Are you just burning it, thinking I'm gonna make it right back? You can't do that. So I just said I wanted to have something else to fall back on, to jump into, because I didn't want to accept another assignment. I wanted that to be my retirement from the security industry, the private security industry. And that's where vending popped back into my head. It started to trend with YouTube, with Twitter. I mean, not Twitter, TikTok at the time. Instagram was a little bit, not as much as it is now. This is the beginning of 2020. So, I still was on that private assignment. I'm working 7 days a week, 12 hours a day straight. Like during those work weeks, I'm a zombie. I'm literally passing my wife and kids out the door. They coming in, driving home, sleep driving. I don't know some days how I made it home after working 12, 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. to get back home. You got an hour commute there, an hour back. And it's like, I can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
And so I invested in that first machine. And that's where the story comes from, where we invested $300. We got a machine that had some issues. I found it on OfferUp. Contacted him. I was like, oh, it's my dad's. You got to talk to him. It's in his shop, his body shop. I go show up the next morning. I get off work. As soon as I hit the spot, he lets me know, hey, my wife just tired of putting money into it. We've had it for X amount of years, and we tired of fixing it, tired of putting money into it. So I said, so what's wrong with it? He said, well, it's freezing the drinks. Okay, that sounds simple enough. I don't know nothing about what I'm saying or doing, but I guess it was something that I could fix. I go to Google. Okay, well, let me see, about getting somebody to look at it. First person I call, they answer the phone. And we talk about this a lot on Twitter about, it's a service-based business. You lose so much money just by not picking up.
Mm-hmm.
And then so went to the next person. I didn't leave a message, wait for them to call me back or anything. Second person, I believe, did pick up the phone, and it just so happened to not be that far away. And that's unheard of for a service-based business too, that I can come right now. I'm downtown. I'm probably 20 minutes away.
Mm-hmm.
He showed up in the interim. We left. We went to go buy some drinks from the store. And while I was at the store, he calls me. Yeah, it's fixed. I had to park my truck. He didn't fix this man machine, and I ain't even bought the machine. What if I get back and he tells me, I changed my mind. I don't want to sell no more.
Yeah.
I'm like, who gonna pay this repair person? So I get back, and on the way back, I'm thinking, I wonder if he let me keep it there. It worked now. I ain't got to move it nowhere. I had nowhere for it to go. Again, to incentivize myself to go out and just jump into it and jump head first and to take action, just went out and bought a machine. I went and found one. I bought it. I didn't think about, let's go find a location first. None of that. No one at the time, with the gurus and whatnot that were on social media was saying, start with the location first. So when I did get back in, I hit him with, let me keep it here. I already had talked him down. He was originally asking $400. I talked him down to $300 because it needed to be repaired. So I ended up paying the repair person. I got him out the way. He left. That was $75 for the call out and $35 for the part. All it needed was a thermostat. Fixed it in a matter of 5 minutes. He was in and out, made his money, answered the phone, made his money, he gone. I got back in, I talked to the owner, and he was like, and mind you, English is not his first language. So it was a barrier just communicating with him throughout the whole thing. But when we got to talking money, he got very fluent.
Yeah.
And so I said, how much to keep it here? And I'm not thinking, I was just talking out the side of my neck.
Right.
I wasn't thinking in terms of commission. I wasn't thinking in terms of rent. I wasn't thinking in terms of a placement fee. I just said it. And he was like, $100. So I paid $100 one time. He got back up to his original asking price. I was able to keep the machine there until maybe 2 months ago. The machine finally was removed from that location.
Wow.
So for a 2-year stretch, every time he would see me, the only commission that he wanted was a Diet Coke. Whenever I saw him, like, he was diabetic. I mean, his brother was diabetic, so they didn't drink everything else that was in the machine.
Yeah.
So that was his one condition. is just keep some Diet Coke in there. And when he see me, when I came to fill the machine or to collect, I would get a cold one out and I would give it to him. And, he would call me Easy Money because, he ended up doing, like, for 35 years, been doing body work and paint, probably one of the baddest companies or like businesses on that side of town in the barrio. And that's what he do, work with his hands. And, he just thought that, like, damn, I wish we would have thought of this. I would have just called the man on Google and got the machine fixed, or or thought to put it somewhere else and make this money ourselves. So it lasted that's probably been my longest lasting or second longest lasting location in the business. But that's where number one started at. So that's the headline. I had this couple took a $300 investment and turned it into a 6-figure vending business.
That's so dope. I love it. And we should have led with that story. That's so inspiring. No, it's all good. I love it because it's just an organic conversation. So, in closing, tell us a little bit about your course, because you offer your course. You have about 11, it looks like to be 11 either products, or some of those are either products or digital or services on your Gumroad account. So tell us about the course, the Assets Rule Academy that you have.
I learned about just the wave or the power of digital products again during the pandemic. And so many people were just changing their lives with them. I want a piece of that too. So I started to create, like, at the end of the day, I'm not a creative, but I have the ability. So the first thing that we ended up doing after everyone kept inboxing or asking, how do I get started, was the ebook. As of a few months ago, we launched, I think it was Christmas, we launched the course. So that is available as well. We're doing consultation calls, mentorships as well. But as far as the course is concerned, for the person that is interactive, that is not like an ebook reader, just think that is either, it's a dead thing, it's played out. I learned the statistic that, out of so many people that do buy these ebooks and these courses,
never read them.
They don't ever even open them up, and I see that to be true. I can go into the back office of the course in the portal and know a lot of these people haven't even opened it. You spent this money and you don't even crack it open. So, like, did you have any intention? And that's the reason for paid products. Like, I could easily share a lot of free game, and I do it via Twitter. We're just starting to do more lives now. But I really want to have something or the ability to weed out people they just want to hear themselves talk. Just want to take up your time, and of course, you got families to feed at the end of the day. So if this is something that we can monetize, we're going to take advantage of that as well. And that's something that I really do truly feel that the value that comes along with it is there, hands down. No different than the consultation I had earlier today. I have a 30-minute and an hour-long consultation. To this day, I have never finished one on time. And I don't know how to combat. I set timers. I've had people, let me pay you. Do I need to send? And when I get into that groove and I get to talking and I'm trying to just pour into people, it's like I go over. And I try to, you might want to book the hour. There's 30 minutes. It's a challenge. It's not enough time. Even with the hour, we go over. And that's how much value I know without a shadow of a doubt. When a person interacts with me, they're getting that hands down. And I tried to put that into that course, still with offering something where a person, if they're a visual person, if they're a practical learner, if they can do something more self-paced, that may be a step up from the ebook. That was the reason for creating that.
That's dope. I love it, man. I love it. I can tell that you're extremely passionate. So where can the people find you, man? Go ahead and plug all your socials, plug your website, anything, man. Where can folks find you?
I don't have a whole lot of socials. If you are a Twitter head, I'm getting better at that. It's 5 years to retire on Twitter. That's at 5YRSTO retire. You can, that same thing on Instagram. The business page on Instagram is at Assets Rule Vending. ASSETSRULE Vending. And then on either of those socials, if you click the link in the bio, there's a full link tree of all the resources and links to the digital products, consultation calls, mentorships, so forth, so on. Right now, depending on when this does drop, and being that this is probably going to drop very soon, I'm going to keep this going. We recently ran a promotion for the course. where we marked it down from $397 to $97. So we're going to keep that going. We removed the coupon code. You don't have to put anything in other than your information to purchase it. And you can grab that for $97, and a lot of kind of like what I talked about here tonight, but definitely much more dedicated information about those frequently asked questions, how to get started, how to be successful, how to scale are gone over in that course. Different ways to monetize this business outside of the traditional ways of vending.
Bro, for sure, man. Appreciate it. Well, thank you for being, you know, you're the second guest for the Skills Make You Meals, but I appreciate you coming on, man. Like I said, I followed you a couple of years ago, and I'm like, this dude is talking about some really dope stuff. And one day I want to get into the vending thing, because I definitely see the recession-proof value in it, man, for sure.
Yes.
Thank you for coming on, man. I appreciate it. This is a lot of information, and everybody go follow him. He puts out a lot of information without the fluff, and you're gonna enjoy it. All right. Thank you, man. Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it, bro.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Roy.
All right.
Have a good night.